Hi, my name's Matt and I'm building a Sopwith Camel. It's been a busy week. I didn't realise how busy until I went back and actually reviewed the footage I had. So I've actually done a fair bit this week, but just not what I actually want to do, which is a successful production run of trailing edge clips. What I've successfully managed to do instead, and I'll show you, is fill up my scrap aluminium bucket further. But I'll go more into that in the video. As far as progress forward's concerned, it's been a bit of a one step forward, two step back sweep, but that's alright. That is what it is. This is a tool for making countersinks in metal. Reading online, there's a little bit of finesse involved in using it, but together these should make my countersinks a lot more accurate. And this here is a optical punch tool. So I'll pull that out. Just unboxing my new bench vise. It's a bit bigger than I anticipated. So this is the vice brake bender. I'll pull that out in a moment and have a nosy. And also grab some jaws as well, soft jaws. Another recent acquisition. This one off Facebook Marketplace locally. Got it for an okay price. It's obviously second hand, it's quite a few years old. And the blade needs replacing, but that aside, everything works as it should. For those who don't know, it's a metal cutting bandsaw, and it can operate in the vertical position. And I have a platen, larger platen that can go onto there. It can be a wider work surface. Most of my work is going to be cutting out metal brackets. So yeah, very pleased I got that. It solves that problem. And the one behind it, which is the one I intended to adapt for metal cutting use, I'll put on Facebook Marketplace and I'll flick it off to somebody else who wants a project. While I'm waiting for metal to turn up to carry on with these brackets, I've pulled out some ribs, been doing a little bit of work. Over here I've got my chisel sharpening jig out. So I've sharpened up a decent chisel, a good wide one, and I've been using that chisel to very, very carefully shave the glue off the back of these. These are glued at the end of last summer, about 4 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. But all the glue was quite rough on the back, so I've shaved it all off using the chisel and then lightly sanded it using 80 grit sandpaper, just to get rid of as much of the glue as possible without getting rid of timber, which is always a bit of a challenge. So that's been done. The other pairs for that have been done, so there's 4 of those in total, and 4 of these ones in total as well. These ones have got the nose on, and the 4th one of those, there's 3 there, is sitting in this other jig. And the other thing I've been prepping for is getting ready to actually glue the cap strips to the noses. Now with these wide ones, I was confident with going down the sides. I've done the bottom, did the sides as separate action, they were on previous videos, but I didn't glue the nose piece onto the cap strips. Largely because I could tell just by doing those ones, I was having problems. I could see there were problems with keeping these straight. So to help rectify that, and I'll do a quick dry test later, I've created a jig which is just enough for the cap strips, and this fits snugly in there. I've already test fitted it. It does work. Does seem to work well, and that should give me something to anchor and make sure these two sides are parallel. And from there it's a matter of making sure they're also straight up and down as well. So with a bit of luck, that should enable me to then glue all these nose pieces on. Now once I've done that 4 times, I can then move on to these ones here, and I can do the same procedure for those. So this piece has to be glued on. Then I've got another piece which is in this tank here, which go on the front or bottom, and then I'll return and glue on the nose pieces. Just got to be super slow with this and super careful, because if you mess it up, of course you're back to recreating all the various components for that, and ideally I don't want to have to do that. The press brakes worked after a fashion. I found that this is actually quite thin for the press brake, so I keep slipping. So what I needed to do was I cut some grooves into a piece of pine, used the grooves and a piece of iron, just a piece of angle iron, mounted there, and give it a tap with the hammer just to get the groove started, Then once it was started, I was able to slip it into the press vise without it slipping, primarily because it get further into the vise. And once it was in the vise, I could then squeeze it until I get to around about that 60-degree angle I was looking for. The next stage is going to be shaping it to match the curve of this. Now I can't use this because the aluminium will just destroy it, being timber. But I figure if I can get a piece of metal, let's source that from somewhere, a piece of metal sheet, the same thickness, then I can use that as a template to tap this against to create the curve, then also to lay sideways and tap down on these edges. As it curves, these edges are going to want to bulge out. So the trick will be to curve a little bit, tap back in the bulges, curve it a little bit, tap back in the bulges, and keep going. And that's a process known as shrinking, and it shifts the metal so it's more evenly distributed along the length as you create the curve. I've seen it done online. The theory's good in my head. Getting it to work could be a challenge, of course. Just had my aluminium order turn up, which is great. So on the left here, I've got 2024 T3 at 0.25, which is like 22 gauge, and this will be used for the trailing edge clips. So I'll get on to marking up this, probably start tonight, and with a bit of luck finish it tomorrow night, enough to get down to the airfield on Saturday or Sunday and borrow the guillotine again and start cutting up clips. And on this side I've got 2024 0, which is the anneal version of 2024, so it's not been tempered, not been heat treated rather, and it's very, very soft, as you can tell from that. So hugely soft. This one's actually a little bit bent compared to the one behind it. Got 2 sheets here. I'll probably only need about 1.5 sheets, but that's okay. Right, first piece marked up for the guillotine. It's coming down this edge here. So mark about there for cutting along that way, and another one here, there. So I get 2 strips out of that, and the black line in the middle is I'm going to use that line that cut through the centre there as the edge against the guillotine, and I'm going to mark out the strips going either way through that black ink. Just try fitting the nose of this wing root rib. So this is an upper wing root. Under here I've got that template I made earlier. So that's keeping the sides parallel with this. There's a bit of a bulge in the timber about there, so this clamp seems to be stealing with that. I want to make sure these 2 nose pieces are kept parallel and closing in, and just to double check on that, whoops, it's a piece of nosing I made up quite a while ago now. So that in theory and in practice, try and line that up. It's looking pretty good. So yeah, so that's looking pretty good. Not perfect, but there's a couple of screws to go into it as well to help bring it down a little bit further. So as long as it's within Kiwi, should be happy with that. So I think I'm ready to glue. The temperature at 4 AM in the morning is projected to be 7 degrees. We're heading into summer, we're not there yet, and it can still vary. But the garage is a little bit warmer than the airport, which is where the temperature is taken at. So I should be safe to glue tonight, but I'm going to have some dinner first. Just been mixing up my T88, and I've got a couple of concerns. Just in this out of the way. So that's my T88, that's the resin and the hardener. And the resin seems, I don't know, granulated, lumpy? Not lumpy, but certainly not as smooth as it was over summer. So I'm just a bit concerned that it might have maybe reacted to being chilled or something over winter. I don't know. I don't recall reading anything about it having a problem with storage. But what I'm going to do, rather than glue this part, it's all ready to go, and potentially discover later there's a problem with it, I'm just going to run a test glue. And that basically involves, and I've done this before, gluing these three pieces together like that with plenty of overlap between the timber. Let it dry overnight, well 72 hours it takes a little while, so it'll be a few days, and then test in the vise. And what should happen is that the wood shatters before the glue shatters, and if that happens then the glue's still okay despite how it looks. Just making up storage boxes for aircraft parts. This one's in progress, this one's close to being finished. Got handholds on the side, feet on the bottom. These are actually wine corks, keg corks, and the handholds on the sides are designed to, look around this one, use up, I've got a joint there because I'm using up spare ply. I want to get rid of all this ply out of my shed and actually turn it into something useful. So yeah. Back in the workshop, it's had a productive day at the airfield. These are all, oops, actually that's a hinge screws and there's hinges in there from another project, but that aside, I'll get rid of those in a second. All the clips in there are made from 2024 T3. So I've recut all the clips using the guillotine. My bucket is now getting fuller. That's all the scrap 6061 stuff, with the one exception being that clip which I've kind of bent and I'm just keeping there as a sample. And I'll get rid of that soon probably as well. I don't want to get it mixed up with other stuff. So yeah, so I've started with the skinny ones first, the 3/8 inch ones which are in front of me. Well, I'm feeling very much like the inexperienced apprentice that the boss probably isn't very happy with at the moment. These are that's my little rib clip container, and you'll notice how empty that is. And in fact, out of a 70 clips I started with, I needed 64 good ones. I'll end up with 5 good ones. So these can live in that. I need a few more. And the rest have all ended up in here, which is looking a little bit fuller. Way too much aircraft aluminium in there. This aircraft aluminium is quite expensive. But hey-o, that is what it is. That's the price you pay when you're trying to learn new skills. There's quite a few new skills I'm picking up on this, or not, as the case may be. It's not as straightforward as you might think, but perseverance will see me through. And the next stage, I think got the processes down pat, just getting the fine tuning done. And the next ones I'll do will be these ones. There's 8 of these. It's about 10 blanks I think I've got, so I've got a couple of spares. So I'll mark these ones up over the next week, get these ones sorted out, fingers crossed they'll come through right, then I'll carry on with the other ones which are similar nature to these ones, and there's 24 of those, and I think there's about 30 blanks cut out. So by the time I get these ones done, sorted, and hopefully up to scratch, I can then turn around and go back to that lot. So, hey-o, it is what it is. 2 new boxes. This one's carrying jigs. I'll use this for jig storage, and that's got all the half ribs in it. These are the 3 glue test pieces I knocked up, probably about 4 or 5 days ago now, so that'll be well and truly set. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tidy them up. By tidy I mean take off the excess glue. I'm about to set up the vise to start testing these 3. Okay, got some deformation. It's probably indicative of one leg being longer than the other. Looking at the other ones, it might be the case of one of those other ones as well. Ooh. Okay, it's definitely the wood breaking before the glue. Yeah. Definitely the wood breaking before the glue, which is ideal. This one looks like it might have broken on the glue. Just take the glass off. Yep, and this one's broken on the glue. Getting some wood deformation. Whoa! Because I didn't have my glasses on. Okay. Right. This is the centre bit. And based on the centre bit, I'll have to go hunting for the other two, they flew off in different directions. That broke on the glue as well. So I'm really glad I tested that glue. It looked a bit suspect as I was squeezing it out of the bottle. Right, follow on to my T88 problem. Before I went and purchased some more of this stuff, I went to the website. I thought they might have seen this before. I'll flick them an email. So with the wonders of AI being incorporated in websites these days, I flicked them an email, and the website promptly sent me to a page which actually described the problem, the cause of it, and how to resolve it. So the cause is storing your T88 at something less than room temperature, and the T88 has been in my garage over the course of winter, where it's dropped to, I wouldn't have a clue, maybe -4, -5 degrees in the garage early in the morning. Don't really know, but it's been enough to cause that chemical reaction in the resin, which is causing it to crystallize. The solution involves, there's two ways. You can either pop in a microwave, 10-second bursts, see how it looks, pull it back out again, or you can pop it into a pot of hot water at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, and leave it there for a while until it all goes clear. And you've got to make sure you leave it there for long enough that you get rid of all the crystals. I don't know what 173 Fahrenheit in Celsius is. I'll have to convert that, but that's a job for next week. So I think I've got a solution, and I think I've got a way of making the existing T88 okay again. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back in about a week or so's time, and I'll flick another update, hopefully with some successfully completed trailing edge clips, and maybe some glue ups done. So I'll see you soon. Cheers.